On a YouTube post, I asked my viewers to send me some Pokemon designs that they've come up with and would want me to remake. After running through all of the submissions, I found those that had good potential or ones that I simply couldn't refuse. With the best candidates now gathered, let's dive in and see what comes out on the other side. For our first submission, it's the charming yet fierce Trooper Flog, which was submitted by the user Basie67. Let's try to start with a home run and set a precedent for the rest. I'll read their Pokédex entries while you see how they were made, then we'll dig into things such as stats, abilities, and more. Sprouting from scorching embers enwrapped by surviving roots that are left after forest fires, Flog and its kind quickly learn how to adapt in a harsh, mostly lifeless environment. Being used to the heat of scorching flames, Flog burns whatever it can on top of its head by using erupting flames that its core generates to stop low temperatures attempts to put out the ember in it. If the ember in its core ceases to burn, what's left of Flog in result will only be scorched wood, while ash from its body will blow away in the wind. It doesn't mind any level of heat, though its body can only resist so much. Maybe a bit of a grim start for some, but I love me some lore that doesn't shy away from the details. Flog is a fire grass type, rocking flame body, flash fire, and thermal exchange as its hidden ability. While on the stats side, it's rocking a nice stat total of 421. No blazy jokes here, folks, move on! The most likeliest spots where it could show up in the wild could be Hoenn in Route 113, which totally fits its vibe. Flog could also make an appearance near Reversal Mountain as a rare encounter, then lastly, which could also be likely, Alola and visit Kiawe at Velo Volcano Park. Coming up next, serving up with the second slot, we got the cutest banana thing ever, which was introduced to us by the user Boreal Mind. Let's see what we can cook up with a design like this. A creature that's too fragile to nest on the low ground, Acopyna uses heights and mimicry to protect their offspring until adulthood. Perceived as pests by many, Acopynas bite off tips of bananas to chew out enough space and lay their eggs inside the plant, where soon after that the offspring will continue sustaining itself from the banana's insides and brought food by the parents, until it grows big enough to use the peel as its elastic shell. It's rare to see Acopynas with green shells due to their unreadiness, which repels the species until a ripe stage. A bit more cuter entry, but now for some detailed results. Acopyna's name is based on the plant Musa acuminata, which is the name of the plant that grows bananas. Then add into the mix the words copy and banana, of course, to get the name Acopyna, which has a pure bug typing. Some abilities that spice up the palette are Levitate as the regular, but for the hidden ability, it's Disguise. As for the stats, Lil Banana Man has the lowest total out of the bunch, being a measly 364. For regions that could fit Acopyna's taste, the most likely candidates could be near Fort Tree City in Hoenn, hanging around in lush jungle back at Alola, while being a usual sight at Paldea, with the most common spot being Los Platos. Rumbling up the competition, meet Quarztacean, which was submitted by Ezekiel. Time to see those crystals glow. For this one, I'll adapt the original creator's description for it a bit. Quarztaceans rarely leave the caves they grow up in due to their environments usually being more than plenty, which usually is due to having a sustainable amount of silicon in the nearby cave-dwelling crystals that the colony can feast upon. If you ever find yourself stumbling across a cave filled with crystals, make sure to identify which ones from the collective are Quarztaceans by seeing the tone of the crystal clusters. Not only they are darker than regular ones, but are less see-through due to minerals stored in them. The darker the crystal, the stronger the Quarztacean. A quick look at the original notes once again, but now it's time for some other data. Like already noted, its typing consists of the rock and normal types. On the ability and stat side though, it's time for me to get creative. Abilities are Earth Eater, Dazzling, and for the hidden, it's Clear Body. Though on the other hand, Quarztacean is rocking the highest stats yet, with a total of 433, yet it will only get higher from here. As for where this fella is located, its preferred living spots are the Chargestone Cave at the Freedom Land of Unova, while also kicking around in other caves like the Galar mines in, well, Galar, but also, of course, tripping hard with the Terastal Crystal in Paldea. Submitting with some truly impressive artwork, Locomotivo introduces us with a menace of a bug called Damachus. Taking the final stage, it's time for a challenge. Being a common sight amongst blacksmiths in olden times, Damachus's kind was named after travelers took interest in the creature's exoskeleton and its properties. In everyday life, the outer surface of Damachus usually is highly durable, while having sharp edges and tips. Though when molting its armor-like exoskeleton after heavy combat, the metallic material becomes highly flexible and elastic, only to soon after return to a state like nothing happened. After gaining a source of this new option for smithing weapons for battle, the battlefield was mostly dominated by weapons with origins from Damachus. Maybe a bit cliché for something related to metal, but let's take a look at something more than original. Like previously noted, Damachus is bug steel type, but now has the abilities of Intimidate, Heavy Metal, and the hidden Heatproof in its arsenal. Ramping up the numbers, Damachus has a base stat total of 487, which is the last of this bunch to be under 500. When looking for spots that could have history of war or a chilly climate that suits its needs, places that stick out are Johto's Route 44 that's near the ice path, Sinnoh with Iron Island seems more than fitting, then finally Kalos and Galar with war involved in its history could harbor the species somewhere in the mid-game, due to stats to balance it out. Maybe you could also make an argument for Hisui? Closing off the main segment like no other, it's the final submission by Showbiz Stories. Looks like giving it a name will be a wholly separate challenge. Now that's a tall order. Spawned from the energy of anxiety left behind from people in the cold, painfully quiet night, Evinfright starts out as a mystical mist traveling through the night. Though after feeding from fears of things seen by people that's only in their minds, it uses its power to bring these sights to life, which it merges with to form a body. Due to a similar nature of habits and feeding routines, Evinfright occasionally can be sighted in a feud with the wild hunters or bonnets while stalking potential prey. No one can remember the first time they spotted an Evinfright. A nice spoopy way to finish up with the last Fakemon for today, but we're not done yet. Checking in on the name that I came up with, Evinfright comes from the words evil and fright, but they're combined in a way that sounds like Eventide. Solely rocking my favorite type, which is known as Dark, Evinfright's arsenal of abilities consists of Tough Claws, Fur Coat, but for the hidden ability, it's Insomnia. Can't have all of the hidden abilities be bangers. Moving on to the stats, we reach the highest total out of the bunch, which is 561 in total. Now, where does this beast lurk at? I'm glad you asked. Reports of Evinfright may have came from Lavender Town in Kanto, Mount Pyre at Hoenn, near Hearthome City in Sinnoh, lurking in the abandoned Thrifty Megamart down in Alola, and lastly at night, Evinfright has a feast all around Mesagosa in Paldea. And those were my redesigns for Fakemon sent in by you. Check out if the button lights up when I say subscribe, then let me know your favorite. But otherwise, stay tuned for more.